What's going on, guys? Machine here with yet another guide, this one being on warrior tanking. Now when my guild came to me and said, hey, will you be the new main tank in the guild with your warrior? I honestly did not know where to start. I had never tanked as a warrior before. I had tanked as a paladin, I had tanked as a DK, but I had never ever wanted to or thought about tanking on my warrior. So I was thought about it for a while. I never really see a lot of warrior tanks. So I was like, this kind of makes me a little more unique than your average tank or average player by actually trying the protection spec as a warrior. I'll give it a whirl. So I did a lot of research, read a lot of websites, read a lot of forums, and got nothing but confused. Not only was there a lack of information out there, but the information out there pretty much all contradicted other pieces of information out there. So obviously it left me very confused. That being said, I figured the only way to figure out what the best way to do things are is to try it myself. So I decided to do so. I found the best way that worked for me and my play style, and I decided to present it to you guys here. So I present to you guys the Warrior Tanking Guide for World of Warcraft 4.2, and we'll start out with the spec itself. Alright guys, taking a look at the spec here, I went for an 8-2-31. We'll look at it a little bit more detail here. I put 3 points in Insight, which increases the critical strike chance of your heroic strike by 15% and gives that heroic strike critical 100% chance to cause the next heroic strike to also be a critical strike. So definitely good to pick that up. It's going to generate threat and do some DPS because a lot of DPS comes from your heroic strike, so you want to keep that in mind. Next is toughness. I got 3 points in this. Increases your armor value from items by 10%. More armor is definitely not a bad thing. Next I got 3 for 3 in shield specialization, and it's going to allow you to generate 15 extra rage when you block an attack. You generate 60 extra rage when you spell reflect a magic attack. More rage is good. Blocking is good, so can't go wrong with this one. You're going to get a lot of blocks in, so this ability is going to allow you to overall get more rage. Then, obviously, when you use Spell Reflect, that's going to get you more rage too, so all around a good ability to have. The next one, Shield Mastery, put 3 for 3 in this, and this basically reduces your cooldown of your shield block by 30 seconds, your shield wall by 180 seconds, and causes your shield block to also reduce magic damage taken by 20% for 6 seconds. Now, Shield Block is a great ability that generates threat, and it's good to have in your rotation. That being said, Shield Wall is obviously one of your main cooldowns that you're going to use as well. So anything that can reduce the cooldowns for these abilities is good to spec into. So that's why I put 3 for 3 in the Shield Mastery portion of the spec. Now next we have 2 points in Hold the Line. This is going to improve your critical strike and critical block chance by 10% for 10 seconds following a successful parry. So obviously, as I'll show you later, in your specialization, you're going to have a lot in parry and dodge, and when you are able to successfully parry something, it's going to fire up the Hold the Line ability, which obviously is going to be quite a bit throughout the battle. Next, I have 1 point in Last Stand, which temporarily grants you 30% of your maximum health for 20 seconds. After the effect expires, the health is lost. So basically this is an ability called Last Stand that you'll get, and you want to spec into this because you never know when stuff's going to hit the fan, and this is going to give you 30% of your max health for 20 whole seconds. So if things have kind of got hectic in the pull, or maybe your tank went down, your off tank or your main tank, if you're the off tank, and you need some time for them to get a battle res out to get him back up, popping this ability definitely helps. There's lots of applicable situations that I can go over. I mean, for crying out loud, there's different waves of tanks where maybe they come enraged, or maybe there's a second attack, which this I don't know. There's tons and tons of situations. If you've ever tanked, Last Stand is definitely needed. Next, I have 1 point in Concussion Blow, and this stuns the opponent for 5 seconds and deals 5470 damage based on your attack power. So this is one of your stuns. It's useful, especially if, and I know in Firelands there's a lot of casting classes that are stunnable so on the mobs. So you can definitely throw a Concussion Blow out there, chill them out, and, not only that, but do some damage. Next, we have the Bastion of Defense. I got 2 for 2 in this, and this reduces the chance you'll be critically hit by a melee attack by 6% while in the defensive stance. In addition, when you block, dodge, or parry an attack, you have a 20% chance to become enraged, and that increases physical damage done by 10 for 12 seconds. So This here, it's gonna basically make you get hit less and allow you to generate more threat. Definitely pick this up. Got Warbringer next, which I got 1 for 1 in. That basically your charge, intercept, and intervene abilities are now usable while in combat in any stance. So in addition, your intervene ability will remove all movement impairing effects. So this allows you while in combat to charge. Definitely suggest taking it up. Never know when you're going to have to jump between packs of mobs or jump and help somebody out. So I'll definitely put a point in that. Next, 2 for 2, improved revenge. Increases the damage of your revenge ability by 60%. Causes revenge to strike an additional target. Revenge is one of your primary abilities, especially when you're the main tank, because you're going to be getting hit. And getting hit is what triggers this ability. If you're an off tank and you're not really getting hit, or even if you're just kind of off on the sidelines, you're not going to be using this ability. But if you're a main tank and whenever you're getting hit, you will be using it. So it's definitely good to throw a couple points in there, and having those extra points to be able to hit an extra target is definitely worth it as well. Next, I got 1 point in Devastate. This sunders the target's armor, causing the sunder armor effect. In addition, causes 173% of weapon damage, plus 982 for each application of sunder armor on the target. The sunder armor effect can stack up to 3 times. So Devastate cooldown is quick, and it also applies a sunder armor effect, and you want to have 3 of those up pretty much at all times. That's pretty much basically the rule of thumb. So using this ability allows you to not have to use the ability Sunder Armor. So I definitely say that you take it, because you're going to be doing damage and causing the effect. So why not throw a point in it, right? Next we have 1 point in Vigilance. Way to spell it and confuse the hell out of me. Focus your protective gaze on a party or raid member each time they're hit by an attack. Your taunt cooldown is refreshed, and you gain vengeance as if 20% of the damage was done to you. Last 30 minutes, this effect can only be done to 1 target at a time. So basically, it's something that you can put on another target. I usually put this on maybe a DPS right before a boss fight that pulls aggro or does very, very, very high DPS and has the chance of pulling aggro. So basically, as soon as he pulls aggro and they're hit by an attack, my taunt cooldown's refreshed, and I can immediately taunt it back to me. And 20% of the damage is basically going to be done to me. So it's good to have to basically support the rest of your group. Next, I have Heavy Repercussions. While your shield block is active, your shield slam hits for an additional 100 damage. Really, how can you argue with that? Putting a point in there, it speaks for itself. Next, Safeguard 2 for 2. It reduces damage taken by the target of your intervene ability by 30% for 6 seconds. So when you use our intervene, it's going to reduce 30% of the damage taken. Intervene is basically an ability where you can jump in front of someone's attack and take the damage. Next, you have Sword and Board. I put 3 for 3 in here, and this increases the critical strike chance of Devastate by 15%. In addition, when your Devastate or Revenge deal damage, they have a 30% chance of refreshing the cooldowns of your Shield Slam and reducing its cost by 100% for 5 seconds. This has, oh my god, awesome all over it. So Devastate and Revenge, 2 things you use a lot. It's going to increase damage. Remember, Devastate's that ability that also applies a Sunder Armor. So this is going to increase the critical strike chance of that ability. And on top of everything, it's going to reduce Shield Slam, which is another main ability in your rotation, and reduce the cost of Rage. So really can't go wrong with putting all 3 points in this. And last but not least, 15 Rage cost, but yeah, it's definitely worth it in an AoE situation, or if you're just trying to take on a stunnable mob on your own. Shockwave. I got 1 for 1 in this, and it shaves a wave of force in front of you, causing 5470 damage based on attack power and stunning all enemy targets within 10 yards in a frontal cone for 4 seconds. This ability, basically, when you use it, it's an AoE stun. So definitely useful, especially when you're clearing out mobs in trash mobs and whatnot in various instances. Last but not least, this is an ability that you want to pick up, and mainly because it's huge for your AoE rotation. And I'll get over rotations later on in the video, but sometimes you're only single DPS, other times you're having to throw on some AoE action. So this ability will help you not only grab everything but stun it and kind of get everyone on board to start attacking the targets that need to be attacked. Next in the Fury tree, I have 2 points in Cruelty. It increases the critical strike chance of Bloodthirst, Mortal Strike, and Shield Slam by 10%. So you're going to get 10% more crit for your Shield Slam. And then in the last tree, Arms increases the damage of Mortal Strike, Raging Blow, Devastate, Victory Rush, and Slam by 15%. So you're getting a 15% increase for your Devastate there as well. 2 points in Field Dressing, which increases all healing received by 6%, and your self-healing abilities by 20%. So when you use your Enraged Regeneration, obviously that's going to help you out and give you another 20% there. And then lastly, we have 3 for 3 in Deep Wounds. And basically all critical strikes cause the opponent to bleed, dealing 48% of your melee weapons average damage over 6 seconds. So once again, 8-2-31, there you have it. And next we're going to be going over the glyphs. Alright guys, jumping into the glyphs. For primes, I have Glyph of Shield Slam, which is going to increase the damage of your Shield Slam by 10%. I have Glyph of Revenge, which increases the damage of Revenge by 10%. I have Glyph of Devastate, which increases the critical strike chance of Devastate by 5%. So in the primes, all damage increasing on a percentage level, definitely good to have. For the majors, I got Glyph of Thunderclap, increases the radius of your Thunderclap ability by 2 yards. I have Glyph of Cleaving, which increases the number of targets your cleave hits by 1. And I have Glyph of Shockwave, which reduces the cooldown on Shockwave by 3 seconds. And last but not least, the minors. Glyph of Battle increases duration by 2 minutes and the area effect by 50% on your battle shout. Glyph of Berserker Rage. Berserker Rage regenerates 5 rage when used. And the Glyph of Demoralizing Shout increases the duration by 15 seconds and area effect of 50% by your Demoralizing Shout. So these are the glyphs I run. Some of them vary depending on who you look at. I find these to be the most useful, and I would encourage you to do the same. Alright, next we're going to actually talk about stat priorities, so we'll get right into that.